December 4th, 1872. In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, a ship is spotted drifting aimlessly between Portugal and the Azores. Her sails are partially set. She is not damaged. She is not sinking. But something is wrong. A boarding crew climbs aboard. The cargo is intact. The captain's cabin is orderly. Food and water are still stocked for months, but the crew, gone. The captain, his wife, his 2-year-old daughter, 7 experienced sailors, all missing. No blood, no signs of violence, no distress signal, just an empty ship, floating in silence. This is the mystery of the Mary Celeste. The journey begins. The Mary Celeste was a brigantine merchant ship, sturdy, reliable, built for the Atlantic. On November 7, 1872, she departed from New York Harbor. Her destination, Genoa, Italy. Her cargo, 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol. On board were Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, Sarah Briggs, their young daughter, Sophia, 7 experienced crew members. Captain Briggs was known as deeply religious, responsible, and cautious. He was not reckless. He was not inexperienced. This was supposed to be a routine voyage. But just days later, the ship would enter history. The Discovery. Nearly a month after departure, another vessel, the Dei Gratia, spotted the Mary Celeste drifting strangely. Its captain, David Morehouse, recognized the ship. He actually knew Captain Briggs personally, but something was off. The Mary Celeste was zigzagging unpredictably. Her sails were damaged. No one responded to signals. A boarding party crossed over. What they found created one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time. What was found on board? The ship was not wrecked. It was not destroyed. It was eerily intact. Inside, the cargo was mostly untouched. 6 months' worth of food and water remained. Personal belongings were still in place. The cruise pipes and belongings were left behind. The lifeboat was missing. There was about 3 feet of water in the hold, not unusual for a ship of that era. The only navigation instrument missing was the sextant and chronometer, tools needed for navigation. The ship's last log entry was dated November 25th. That placed them about 400 miles from where the ship was eventually found. Somewhere in those 9 days, something happened. The immediate suspicion. When the Mary Celeste was towed to Gibraltar, authorities suspected foul play. Maritime law stated, if you discover an abandoned ship and bring it to port, you are entitled to salvage money. Suspicion fell on the crew of the Dei Gratia. Did they murder everyone and stage the scene? But there was a problem. There was no evidence of violence, no blood, no damage from combat, and the cargo, valuable alcohol, was still aboard. If it was piracy, why leave the profit? After months of investigation, no one was charged. The mystery only deepened. The theories. For over 150 years, historians, scientists, and conspiracy theorists have tried to explain what happened. Let's examine the most credible possibilities. Theory 1. Alcohol fumes explosion fear. This is the leading modern explanation. The cargo consisted of industrial alcohol, highly flammable. Some barrels were found empty. It's possible fumes build up inside the hold. Imagine this. A small leak. Vapors rising. A sudden loud whoosh. A pressure explosion. Not enough to burn the ship, but enough to terrify the crew. If Captain Briggs feared a full explosion was imminent, he may have ordered everyone into the lifeboat temporarily. They could have tied the boat to the ship with a rope, but if the rope snapped in rough waters, the ship would drift away, leaving the crew stranded at sea. This theory explains no fire damage, no violence, the missing lifeboat, why navigation tools were taken. But it raises one haunting question. Why didn't they get back on board? The ship was seaworthy. It sailed another 400 miles on its own. Theory 2. Rogue wave or waterspout. Another theory suggests a sudden rogue wave struck the ship, a massive wall of water. The crew may have believed the vessel was sinking. In panic, they may have evacuated. But again, why leave food? Why leave valuables? Why abandon a sturdy ship? Sailors were trained to trust their vessel. Something must have truly convinced them staying was more dangerous than leaving. Theory 3. Piracy. Piracy was common in the 19th century, but pirates seek valuables. The alcohol was untouched. Personal belongings remained. There were no signs of struggle, no damage to the hull. Piracy doesn't fit the evidence. Theory 4. Mutiny. Some speculate the crew turned on Captain Briggs, but this theory collapses quickly. Briggs had a strong reputation. The crew had no known conflicts. And again, why leave the ship? If you mutiny successfully, you keep the vessel. You don't abandon it. Theory 5. Seaquake or natural phenomenon. Some researchers suggest seaquake. An underwater earthquake could have frightened the crew. Others suggest methane gas eruptions from the ocean floor. These could cause bubbles, reduce water density, or create explosive effects. But there's no confirmed geological evidence from that exact time and location. Still, the ocean is unpredictable. The human factor. Here's something often overlooked. Captain Briggs had his wife and small daughter on board. He was not just thinking like a captain. He was thinking like a father. If he believed there was even a small chance of explosion, he might have chosen temporary evacuation. A cautious decision. A protective decision. And that decision may have cost them everything. Imagine drifting in a small lifeboat in the Atlantic. No land in sight. Watching your ship slowly disappear over the horizon. Media sensation. The story exploded in newspapers. It became known as the ghost ship. Some articles exaggerated details. One famous fictionalized account by Arthur Conan Doyle made the story even more dramatic, adding murder and mystery elements that were not factual. Over time, fact blended with fiction. The legend grew larger than the evidence. But the core mystery remained. Where did they go? The psychological mystery. Here's what makes the Mary Celeste so haunting. If the ship had been destroyed, we would understand. If bodies were found, we would mourn. But emptiness creates questions. The ship survived. The people did not. Somewhere in the Atlantic, a lifeboat carrying 10 souls vanished without a trace. No wreckage was ever found. No confirmed remains. No final message in a bottle. Just silence. The ocean's reality. The Atlantic is vast. Even today, with satellites and radar, small vessels disappear. In 1872, a lifeboat would stand little chance. Waves, storms, exposure. It would take only hours for hypothermia to set in. Only days for dehydration. The ocean does not return what it takes. The final log entry, the last recorded position in the ship's log, suggests the Mary Celeste was near the Azores. That means land was not impossibly far away. They were close enough to survive. But close does not mean reachable in a small drifting boat. And that might be the cruelest part of the story. Conclusion: there is no confirmed answer. Most historians lean toward the alcohol vapor panic theory. It's logical. It's grounded in science. But logic does not erase the image. A fully functional ship, floating alone, crossing the ocean without a crew, as if the sea itself had erased its passengers. The Mary Celeste became a symbol, not of horror, but of mystery. Because sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones without violence, without evidence, without closure, just an empty deck and the sound of waves. Picture the Atlantic at dusk. A wooden ship drifting under a gray sky. No footsteps on deck. No captain at the helm. Just wind filling the sails. The Mary Celeste did not sink. It survived. But its people became part of the ocean And more than 150 years later, we are still asking, did they abandon the ship out of fear? Did a simple mistake turn fatal? Or did the sea claim them in a way we will never fully understand? Because some mysteries are not about what was destroyed. They're about what was left behind. And that is history beyond books. If you love uncovering the mysteries that they don't teach in school, subscribe to History Beyond Books and tell me in the comments, what do you think really happened?